Hello MotoGP enthusiasts. Welcome back to ZNGP Today. Ducati is facing an unusually difficult start to the season, but Davide Tardozzi is refusing to dramatize it. After two challenging races and no full race podiums until Fabio Di Giannantonio's third place in Brazil, the Ducati team manager says the message inside the camp is simple: stay calm, work hard, and solve the problems as a team. He also paid tribute to Aprilia, which he believes has taken a major step forward. Ducati left the Brazilian Grand Prix frustrated not only by the result, but by the way the race itself was handled. In a weekend already marked by circuit problems, flooding, asphalt issues and delays, the Italian camp was angered by MotoGP's decision to shorten the race just minutes before the start. Davide Tardozzi made it clear that the late call disrupted plans and left teams with no real chance to react. Ducati left the Brazilian Grand Prix with one eye not only on the present, but also on its future structure in MotoGP. After a key meeting in the Ghania paddock, the Italian manufacturer appears increasingly confident that its satellite lineup will remain unchanged in 2027, with VR46 and Gresini still part of the Borgo Panigale family. The big question now is not the teams themselves, but how the rider lineup and salary structure will be handled. Aprilia left Brazil with a dream result, but Massimo Rivola is not letting the team get carried away. Marco Bezzecchi's win and Jorge Martin's double podium made for a perfect Sunday in Goiânia, yet the Aprilia CEO insists that two races do not redefine a season. With Austin next on the calendar, and Marc Marquez historically so strong there, Rivola is keeping the message simple: stay grounded, keep working, and do not mistake early success for a finished story. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Tardozzi was quick to acknowledge that Aprilia's progress is real. In his view, the Noali factory has been competitive since the middle of last season and has now made a clear leap forward, forcing Ducati to confront a much stronger rival than before. First of all, congratulations to Aprilia. They've worked very well since last year. I think they've been very competitive since the middle of last season. They've taken a big step forward recently, so all we can do is congratulate them. That praise is not just polite. It reflects a genuine shift in the competitive order, with Aprilia now looking like one of Ducati's biggest threats. According to Tardozzi, Ducati is not blindly searching for answers. The areas where the team is struggling have already been identified, and Gigi Dall'Igna has been working on them since winter. That means this is less about panic and more about execution. Ducati believes the problem is understood. Now it needs to convert that knowledge into results. Tardozzi expects Ducati to be closer in Austin, even if Aprilia remains strong. He also pointed to Jerez as another venue where the team believes it can reduce the gap. I think Aprilia will still be competitive in Austin, but I'm sure Ducati will be closer. They'll also be very strong in Jerez, but we can be closer. We know the problem and we're looking for ways to solve it. Ducati is still confident its form will improve, but the team knows it must prove that expectation on track rather than in words. Marc Marquez's physical condition remains one of the biggest storylines of the early season. Tardozzi admitted the Spaniard is still not fully fit, and he made it clear Ducati cannot rely on Marquez's talent alone to cover every weakness. Right now, we also have a Marc who isn't 100% physically fit, although this isn't an excuse, since the other Ducatis are behind us. We can't expect Marc's talent to always solve our problems. Tardozzi also addressed Pecco Bagnaia's crash in Brazil, rejecting the idea that it was simply bad luck. In his view, the problem is tied to the confidence Bagnaia currently lacks on the bike. For all the frustration, Tardozzi insisted the first two races have taught Ducati a lot. The key takeaway is that the team is no longer alone at the front. Rivals have improved, and Ducati now has to respond. These have been two very difficult races. They've taught us a lot. We're not alone anymore. Our rivals have improved considerably. And now we must show that Ducati is capable of overcoming this deficit. That may be the clearest summary of Ducati's situation. The challenge is no longer just winning, it is proving it can adapt fast enough to stay on top. Ducati is not in crisis mode, but it is under pressure. Aprilia's jump forward has changed the landscape. Marquez is still not fully fit. Bagnaia is searching for confidence. And the team knows the answers must come from the whole structure, not from one rider alone. The return of MotoGP to Ganya after nearly 4 decades was supposed to be a major event, but the weekend quickly turned into a logistical mess. Flooding on Thursday, a sinkhole on the straight and repeated track issues created a chaotic backdrop before the race even began. What should have been a showcase weekend became a test of endurance for riders, teams, and organizers alike. MotoGP eventually reduced the Brazilian Grand Prix from 31 laps to 23 because of tire degradation and track damage, but the decision came only moments before the start. That meant teams could no longer adjust their strategy or tire choice properly. The safety reasons may have been understandable, but the timing of the announcement was what triggered the anger inside the paddock. Davide Tardozzi was visibly unhappy with how the situation was managed. He said Ducati had no warning until the very last minutes and expects a fuller explanation from the organizers. It was a shock, because we didn't know until the last 5 or 6 minutes, and well, if the organizers made this decision, there must be a reason. We trust them, so we'll talk about it in Austin, but I'm sure they'll explain why. That's all. For Ducati, the issue was not simply the shortened distance. It was the fact that the entire field was denied the chance to prepare properly. VR46 boss Pablo Nieto also said he understood the need for a change if conditions were unsafe, but agreed that the teams should have been informed earlier. I agree, if something happens, I agree that the race distance should be changed. But I don't agree with being told 4 minutes before. So I think if they want to do something like this, they should tell us a little earlier, because we can make a plan. We can do something different. That reaction reflected the wider mood in the paddock, acceptance of the safety decision, but frustration at the timing. The race result only deepened Ducati's mood. Marc Marquez missed the podium and openly admitted that Aprilia now has the edge, something that clearly irritated him after another defeat. TNT commentator Neil Hodgson even noted how unusually angry Marquez sounded after the race, saying he had rarely seen that side of him so openly. The timing of the controversy matters even more because Aprilia's strong performance already had Ducati on edge. With Bezzecchi and Martin taking a 1-2, the shortened race became another detail in a weekend where Ducati felt things were slipping away. When a rival is gaining speed and the race format itself becomes chaotic, every decision feels even heavier. For Ducati, the Brazilian GP was not just a race lost on track. It was a weekend of poor organization, late decisions, and growing frustration. The last-minute shortening of the race may have been made for safety, but in Borgo Panigale it was seen as one more example of a weekend that left too many questions unanswered. Mauro Grassilli, Ducati Corsa's sporting director, met with Nadia Padovani and the Gresini Racing Management during the Brazilian GP weekend. The meeting came amid growing speculation over the future of Ducati's satellite teams, but the mood after the talks was calmer. For Ducati, the priority is continuity. The company wants to keep both VR46 and Gresini in its MotoGP structure beyond 2026. VR46's position is considered secure. The team already has a long-term agreement with Ducati, and sources around the paddock insist there was never any real intention to change supplier. That means the real uncertainty was always around Gresini, not Valentino Rossi's team. The situation became more delicate when it was confirmed that Fermin Aldeguer, a rider directly contracted to Ducati, will move to VR46 in 2027. That decision reportedly unsettled Gresini, which had not expected the move and felt the sporting balance had shifted against them. What seemed like a simple rider move ended up creating wider tension over trust, timing, and Ducati's long-term intentions. Aldeguer's move also sparked rumors that Gresini could look elsewhere, including Honda, although those rumors were later denied. Even so, the fact that the team was left frustrated showed how sensitive the negotiations had become. In MotoGP, supplier relationships are built on confidence, and this one had clearly been tested. After the Sunday meeting in Goiânia, Grassilli stayed cautious in public. He confirmed that discussions were progressing well, but avoided making any firm announcements until after Austin. "Everything is going well, but I can't comment now. I'll speak after Austin." That short answer suggests the talks are moving in the right direction, even if Ducati is not ready to say everything out loud yet. Beyond the team structure, Ducati also wants satellite teams to contribute to rider salaries in the future. At the moment, some riders are still paid directly by Ducati, but that model could change slightly in 2027. This is now one of the key points in the negotiations, especially with Gresini, but it does not seem to be a deal-breaker. The overall feeling inside Borgo Panigale is that the structure will remain the same. The main changes would come on the rider side, with Acosta expected in the factory garage and Aldeguer moving to VR46, while a few spots are still open. So the big picture appears stable. The real work now is in finalizing the details. Ducati may be dealing with tension behind the scenes, but its long-term plan still looks clear: keep VR46 and Gresini as satellite partners, settle the salary structure, and preserve the strength of its MotoGP network. The next few days could confirm that the framework stays intact, even if the rider market keeps shifting around it. Rivola was delighted with the Brazilian result, but he was also clear that the weekend was not flawless. Aprilia had problems on Friday, especially with Bezzecchi, yet the team managed to recover with patience, method and strong internal data sharing. One of Rivola's biggest points was the importance of depth. Aprilia now has 4 fast riders on competitive bikes, and that gives the factory a much stronger technical base than before. A perfect Sunday, but not a perfect weekend. Having 4 fast riders with 4 fast bikes is a huge advantage. For Rivola, the real positive is not just the result itself, but the way Aprilia reacted to early setbacks and turned them into a dominant race day. That depth is helping Aprilia improve session by session, because the team now has more data, more reference points and more opportunities to refine the package. Rivola also praised the work being done behind the scenes in Noali. He made it clear that the current level of performance is not accidental, but the result of long hours and quiet development. Jorge Martin's first double podium finish of the year was another highlight for Aprilia. Rivola did not call it a surprise, because in his eyes Martin is still one of the fastest riders in the world and is now getting closer to his best after an injury-hit 2025. I don't want to say surprise, because he's a 2-time world champion. He's a naturally super fast rider. Rivola described the weekend as emotional, but also as a sign that Martin is returning to the level everyone expected from him. Despite the strong results, Rivola refused to say Aprilia has suddenly become the hunted team. In his opinion, the championship picture is still too early to judge. 2 races don't change Aprilia's status. That is a deliberately cautious message. Aprilia may be leading the conversation now, but Rivola wants the team to stay focused on daily work rather than standings. Rivola's tone was one of ambition, but also restraint. He told the team to think big, but never lose humility or concentration. The next stop, Austin, will be a major test. Rivola knows that Circuit of the Americas has often belonged to Marc Marquez, and he is not pretending otherwise. My message is that we all need to think big, but with our feet on the ground and with humility. We're going to a place that's Marc's home track. It is the kind of message that fits a team trying to build something real rather than chase a single headline. He also admitted that Aprilia may not yet be the strongest package there. That makes Austin a crucial reference point for understanding whether Brazil was a breakthrough or just the first strong chapter. Rivola also commented on the race distance controversy in Brazil, where MotoGP shortened the Grand Prix just minutes before the start. Even though the decision ultimately worked in Aprilia's favor, he said the process was not ideal. "I don't think it's acceptable to only know what's going on when you're about to start." Aprilia leaves Brazil with momentum, confidence, and a championship lead worth celebrating, but Rivola is making sure the team does not drift into overconfidence. The message is clear: the results are real, the progress is real, but the season is still young. Austin will tell Aprilia much more about how far this rise can go. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!